Okay, folks, I hope everyone's doing great today. I've put out a number of short videos I could on a very busy day at the start of Season 2. I've not had a whole lot of time. This video is going to be a bit longer. I want to cover the basics of Season 2, and there's going to be a bit to read, so I'm going to leave some of the screens up so you have an opportunity to read them, but please pause the video in order to read at your leisure. So first and foremost, I'll just say that the season got started on our servers at about 2 a.m. Eastern Time US. So that would be 6 a.m. UTC to help you convert to your time zone. For most folks in Europe, that was reasonable. It was the beginning of their day, just before work maybe, so that they could actually engage and see what was going on. I think it actually really got started 40 minutes later. For anybody in North America, that was not really a great time. For anybody in Asia, Middle East, that was probably a good time for you. So it fell into the workday, overnight, early morning for me, and then fell into the workday. So I got started really late, at least 12 to 14 hours behind. So I'll have to catch up. But I'm going to have a number of videos where I'm going to cover some different mechanics here. You can see there's a temperature in Celsius on my base right now. I'm going to cover that. I'm going to talk about zombies. I'm going to talk about the new buildings. I'm going to talk about the Doom Elite. And yes, virus resistance is still a thing if you caught that in one of my other videos. We're going to talk all about that, but this time we're going to just tap on the Season 2 icon and we're going to look through what we have going on. So right now on server 33, we just started the season 2 Polar Storm. It's going to go for 49 days in total, counting today. We are in week 1. Just like in Season 1, each of the weeks are going to have different objectives, and there will be rewards for many of those weeks. So you can see here some of the rewards we had across our server, our war zone, and all of the war zones in our group. We'll talk about the group in a little bit. So we had the cold wave alert, get to a minimum temperature of -20. We had to unlock the heat furnace for our alliances. So in case you're not aware already from some other videos, there is a furnace that your alliance will build. You can move it once it gets to level 2, so you need to kind of take it with you to keep the area you're in warm. You need to unlock the titanium alloy factory, the alliance furnace we talked about, and then eventually there will be unlocking villages, towns, and so on. So each of these things, as you donate to them, they will accumulate just as in Season 1, and the rewards will become available. And just one clarification on the high heat furnace, that's the furnace for your base. Okay. So I have not claimed these rewards yet, but I will later. You can, like in Season 1, tap to see what's coming up in the next week. You cannot tap on any weeks further than the immediate next week. So next week I can see that we have another cold wave alert, polar dishes, Beast Crisis, more city unlocks, the factories and the train stations, so we're going up in level, okay, just like in Season 1. So that is the first week objectives in Season 2. The menu here looks pretty much the rest the same. Rules, the grouping, your leaderboard, your goals, your professional skills, and then rewards that will be given out for alliance level achievements in the season. So first, let's take a look at the rules. You're going to want to read through all of this. I'll scroll slowly here so that you can pause the video and read about how the season works. So first off, we headed to the polar regions, and what's going to happen is there's going to be this exposing of rare soil. And that is one of the season's special items or resources. So take a moment here to read about the rare soil. Okay, so you see that in Season 1, there were the points that you had to get as an alliance that allowed you to get better rewards. In this case, that rare soil, or what I think is going to basically equate to capturing land, just like in Season 1, is going to be the type of points that you need to gain higher level rewards in the season. If we take a look at temperature, so you saw that temperature on my base. Obviously, we're in a winterland. It's super cold. This has a lot of ramifications. We'll cover that in some other shorter videos. But right now, we see the temperature is a major challenge in the region, and it's going to impact your base. I'll cover that in extreme detail. But right now, we can see that if your base reaches above 40 degrees Celsius, it can become on fire. If it gets below minus 20 degrees Celsius, it will start to freeze. So take a moment and read through the on fire and the frozen statuses here. Now also regarding the base, you may have to break the ice. So a base becomes frozen, and so do many of the zombies, in fact. You're going to have to break that ice, and you'll then be able to attack whatever that target is or capture it. So in the case of like a Doom Elite, it's going to probably be frozen. You have to break the ice, and then you can rally it. In a base that's frozen, you got to break the ice, and then you can plunder it, attack it. I'm assuming we're going to see something similar for some cities. Warming up. Just like in Season 1, you could send out a plane to cure the virus stacks that your allies had. In this case, in Season 2, you send out a plane to warm your allies, I believe by 2 degrees Celsius. It may be variable, but you can send out unlimited number of planes as far as I can tell right now, and that will help increase your allies' base temperature. The only restriction you have is the planes will consume coal of yours. And then frost and snow. So the land you're in, its temperature is going to vary. And as you heat the land up, whether by your alliance furnace or other means, it's going to start to melt the ice, and you're going to find things below the ice. So take a moment to read about break the ice, warm up, and frost and snow. All right, so then we've got blizzard and the snowfield survival. So blizzards, they're going to cause severe cold waves. They're going to come at different intervals. When they hit the area you're in, so think of the map as having a different weather pattern. These blizzards will cause your regional temperature to drop, which will cause your base to drop and potentially freeze. We'll see in a later video that your furnace for your base and your alliance has a couple different modes, and there are some options to enable a higher power output when a blizzard is detected. So blizzards are going to be an environmental factor that's going to make your area more cold. The snowfield survival, basically, not only do you have the freezing temperatures to deal with, but you've also got really strong monsters. So think of the monsters that were at the strongholds. You're going to need to work with allies in your alliance to defeat these monsters, which also brings up some subcategories here. Virus resistance. Yes, it's still a thing. I don't know how high it's going to go compared to Season 1 right now, but what I can say is in order to beat Doom Elites and likely some of the other zombies, bosses at cities and stronghold type lands, you are going to need to have a higher level of virus resistance. The high heat furnace that you can add to your base is how you increase your virus resistance. I will say for Doom Elite level 1, you can attack it without any resistance, but after that it's going to show you your resistance to how much resistance you need, and then how much your damage will be reduced, just like in Season 1 if you don't have the level of resistance. The Alliance Furnace, that helps heat up the area around the furnace to help your members not have to burn as much coal to keep their base warm. So take a moment to read about these two things. All right, and the furnace is going to disappear at the end of the season, so that's a seasonal base. The hunt monsters. So as you defeat the monsters, you're going to get different seasonal type resources, such as coal. So this is similar to Season 1, where you got immune protein and crystals. So we'll see this in a later, shorter video, but hunt the monsters, hunt the zombies in order to increase the resources you need to upgrade your buildings. And then various seasonal resources and buildings exist. So we have titanium alloy and coal. Those are your basic resources. You need the titanium alloy to upgrade your furnace, and I'm going to guess also to upgrade the different faction centers when they are available as well. So this is essentially the same as the virus protein and crystals. And then the coal. The coal is a resource that your furnace is going to burn, but it's also a resource that you need in order to make the titanium alloy factories, which are needed to upgrade the building. So coal is going to be a very difficult thing to get in the beginning, just like the virus immune protein was. And then later, I'm going to guess it switches around. You're going to have a ton of coal, but you're never going to have enough titanium alloy. So you're going to want to make sure you kill doom walkers and get your first blood and so on. The high heat furnace, as we talked about, that's what gives you virus resistance. It has a couple different modes. It's going to keep your base warm, but it consumes coal. So take a moment to read about these three items. And finally, that titanium alloy factory we talked about. Take a moment to read about that. World buildings, you have dig sites and you've got the polar city. So there's a bunch of different cities with different names. It's very similar to Season 1. Those cities are going to have different benefits, buffs. The cities all have furnaces, but you need to capture the city, activate the furnace to help thaw it. And dig sites, you're going to see these dig sites show up. They're kind of similar, I would say, to the strongholds in that you capture them, and that's how you can produce additional coal, which you're going to need for your alliance furnace and your buildings as well. And lastly, there's recapturing the city. So as you get stronger, your virus resistance increases, you are able to warm the area that you're in. Your alliance furnace, you can pick it up and move. So at level 2, you can take the alliance furnace and you can now start to move it. As you move it deeper into the middle of the map, it gets colder. And so you're going to need to constantly strengthen your alliance furnace and your own base's furnace in order to combat the extreme cold that you're going to find. So eventually, my theory is at the end of the season, we're going to thaw the whole land out and everything's going to start to return normal. So as you advance forward, you can capture more dig sites, capture higher level cities, and so on. Okay, folks, so that's an overview of Season 2 Polar Storm rules. Next up, I'm going to talk a little bit about the goals, your profession, grouping, and we'll go on from there. All right, everybody, thanks for sticking with me on this rather long video. Hopefully, you were able to skip along, pause, read, and got some useful information on Season 2. Smash that like button, subscribe, and drop me a comment. More to come.